Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
The last time Jamer Candelario faced the Orioles, it did not go well for Baltimore. 8 for 12, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs as well. As my partner would say, is that good? Yes, that's good. That's really good. Tigers move the road show tonight to Baltimore. Welcome to Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Game 1 in this series featuring the Detroit Tigers and the Baltimore Orioles. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba alongside Rod Allen. Glad to have you with us here for Game 1 in this series. Tough loss yesterday for the Tigers. Rod, in Pittsburgh, they really had their opportunities to win that ball game, just could not get the big hits.
Yeah, Michael Fulmer was outstanding yesterday. He struck out 9. He pitched 6 innings. I stopped by Ron Gardenhire's office after the game yesterday, and he said, man, they just couldn't get that one big hit to help Michael Fulmer out, but he's hoping his guys can do that tonight.
All right, now, by and large, the offense has been really good this year, and you got to look at the top 4. 1 through 4 in this lineup has been as good as any quartet in the league.
You know, I'm kind of surprised by all the offense that these guys have put up. And yes, we knew Miguel Cabrera was going to get back to his form of doing what he does best. But the guys that were kind of questionable were Martin and Candelario. We knew Candy was a big-time prospect. We didn't know what we were going to get out of Martin. We knew Nicholas was on his way to stardom. But take a look at these 4 guys. Martin leads the club in runs. Candelario, 13 extra base hits. Miggy with a huge OPS. And Nicholas, he just gets it done in all kinds of different facets as far as the offensive game is concerned. So it's been fun to watch the top of the order.
All right, now this Orioles team, they're a wounded bunch. They've got a lot of guys on the disabled list, a lot of really good players, but one guy that does remain in the middle of their lineup, Manny Machado, and boy, is he off to a great start.
He's hungry too, partner. He's a free agent after this year's over. He's 25 years old. He's back to playing his natural position, so he's more comfortable than he's ever been in the big leagues, and it's really showed up at the plate. Last week, he was Player of the Week. He shared that honor with Sean Manaea of the Oakland Athletics, who threw a no-hitter. But 34 knocks already this year from Manny, which is second in the American League, and a lot of those hits are extra base damage. He's also picks on left-handers and right-handers. This guy's hitting nearly 350 against lefties and righties, so they got to slow him down. He's the one guy.
Hopefully they will slow him down tonight. Stay with us. Game 1 in this series coming up. Right now we go back to the Coliseum Studios and Mickey York.
In the game of baseball, it doesn't matter what they say. It matters what we say.
That ball is going to get down fair. It's going to go to the corner, and we are tied.
This team won't rely on expectations to gauge success. Instead, we measure effort, hunger, and pure respect for the game.
In McCann's throw, bouncing in, tag waiting, got it.
They'll realize who we are when we realize who we are. 2018 marks a new beginning for the Tigers, and we're ready to shock some folks this season.
To the track, to the wall, Jacoby Jones with a walk-off winner for the Tigers. Well, the Tigers have played a whole lot better than many expected. Tonight they are in Baltimore to begin a 3-game series here against the Orioles. After 3 in Pittsburgh, Tigers dropped 2 out of 3 there. And we'll check out the starting pitcher tonight for the Orioles, presented by Jeff Glover and Associates Realtors. It is Chris Tillman.
Well, Tillman has been struggling. As a matter of fact, he's been struggling for about a year now. He hasn't gotten a win since last May. His earned run average sits at about 10 right now. The whip over 2. 8 strikeouts, and he's walked 11. He is just going through a very difficult time right now. However, he has good numbers in his career against Detroit.
Here is the starting lineup the Tigers will throw at him tonight, that is presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. And for the Tigers, it'll be Martin, Candelario, and Cabrera in the top 3 spots. Castellanos batting cleanup. Victor is back in there as the DH. Jones, McCann, Iglesias, and Machado rounded out.
Let's take a look at the starting defense behind Chris Tillman this evening. Buck Showalter is their manager. Left to right they go Mancini, Jones, Gentry. In the infield, with Beckham being on the disabled list, they go Valencia, Machado, Peterson, and Davis. And Caleb Joseph is the starting catcher this evening.
And we are ready for baseball. Cloudy overcast here in Baltimore tonight, but there is no rain in the area. That is the good news. So Tigers and O's beginning this series, and here we go. The first pitch of tonight's ball game. Leonis Martin looks at ball 1 outside.
Already first pitch of the game, the Orioles have overshifted on Martin, who hits a lot of ground balls to the right side of the infield. They have 3 infielders on that side as we speak.
The 1-0 is popped up foul, back out of play.
That's the one thing the Tigers will have to guard against Tillman. The velocity on his fastball is not nearly where it used to be. He used to be a guy that got up to 95. He pitched right at 93, but these days his top fastball is 92. But he still tries to pitch at the top of the strike zone, so the Tigers will have to lay off that pitch tonight.
The 1-1. That'll miss it inside. 2 balls and 1 strike now on Leonis Martin.
Leonis has been on fire, hitting the ball extremely hard, doing a wonderful job in that leadoff spot for the Tigers.
5 out of 14 in the series against the Pirates. He has shown some power as well with 4 homers and 11 driven in. High fly ball center field, chasing Jones back, still going back. And 1 gone. Not deep enough here to center field. That'll bring up Candelario. Jamer back in the lineup. He injured his wrist in the Pittsburgh series, and Candelario says it affects him more from the right side than the left. So he's batting lefty here tonight. And what a series he had. In fact, what a series against the Orioles he had back at Comerica. And Jamer on the first pitch is drilled, and so he'll go to first base.
Caleb Joseph was set up way outside, and that pitch hit him in the right ankle. Talk about missing your target.
Yeah, by a wide margin. All right, now with Candelario at first base. He's got that protected gear on his wrist.
Did you?
Here is Miguel Cabrera. .325 batting average, 16 homers this year for Miggy.
It's been a while since Miguel's hit a home run. You have to go back to April 18th against the Baltimore Orioles, the last time Miguel hit a homer.
That, however, has not affected the rest of his game. He's still batting well over 300, 5-game hit streak.
And his hard hit rate is right up there with the best in baseball right now.
Like many of the Tigers, had a big series in Pittsburgh. And Cabrera looks at a strike.
Nice little breaking ball there thrown by Tillman. Nice little slider. He's throwing more sliders these days, especially to the right-handers. He does not have a whole lot of confidence in his fastball right now.
Just a couple of years ago in 2016, he won 16 games, had a much more powerful fastball at that point in his career. And he missed outside 2-1. Now at the end of that year, Rod, he suffered a labrum injury in his right shoulder, and I guess really has not been able to bounce back from that.
Yeah, he carried that all the way into the next spring training and started the season on the disabled list. And finally, when he started pitching, he just wasn't very good. I mean, his earned run average was way up there. He gave up a ton of runs last year. I mean, a ton of runs.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. And Miguel rolls it foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And take a look at Miguel Cabrera and where he makes a real good, consistent contact. Here's a lot of red on the hot and cold zones. He loves the ball at the top of the strike zone. He loves it in and out in the middle. Not so much down and away. We'll see if that's where Tillman tries to get him out, where he has that 0 batting average if he tries to go down and away. Looks like that's what they're going to do.
Up top instead, and the count on Miguel now 2-2. They're checking 3-2. We got Castellanos waiting on deck.
I don't know if Candelario will take off from first base on the 3-2 pitch, but I do know Ron Gardenhire has a lot of trust in Miguel Cabrera not to strike out, so we might see Candy on the move.
There he goes. That is fouled back out of play.
Ron Gardenhire said something that I thought was interesting, but I know it's true. He said sometimes when you start the runner 3-2, the hitter just feels like he has to swing, even though it might be a ball. So he says he likes to pick and choose the players that he wants to put in that particular situation. And obviously, he feels like Miguel Cabrera is a guy that will not leave the strike zone, at least not very often.
On the move again, and Cabrera shoots it foul down the right field line. Well, that stands to reason. I think that's probably true. And now a 7-pitch at bat for Miguel so far.
Yeah, Miguel has seen quite a few pitches already from Tillman. He's seen several fastballs. Top fastball, that last one at 89. He's seen several sliders. Looks like they're going to go back with another breaking ball here.
Low and away, that's ball 4, and Cabrera gets a walk. That'll put 2 men on.
We're going to make that our Bell Tire pitch by pitch, since Tillman basically emptied out his every pitch that he had. I mean, he yanked that one, but everything breaking ball. And one thing that he showed us is he's going to throw that breaking ball when he's behind in the count, and that changeup. Really didn't throw Miggy anything right down the heart of the plate. Miggy did a nice job to get the base on balls.
And that'll set up Nick Castellanos now. Nicholas at .330 on the season. Tigers very early a scoring chance in this one. And Tillman missing outside again. 1 ball and no strikes. Tigers won 3 against the Orioles when they faced them back at Comerica Park. Here's the 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tigers scored 23 runs in that 3-game series against the O's. This, of course, is a very good hitter's ballpark.
And Nick with 2 strikes, not so much right now, but if he falls behind 2 strikes, he will simply hit a ball right in that hole. We've already seen him do it several times this year, but he won't do it until he gets 2 strikes. Right now, he's trying to find one of those gaps.
They're playing him to pull on the infield. And Tillman slipped a bit on that last delivery. Now the count 2-1 on Castellanos.
Castellanos is on fire right now. He's hit safely in his last 5, and over those 5 games, he is batting .545, 12 for 22, with 10 RBIs.
Tillman just does not seem like he is very comfortable out there yet. He has thrown 16 pitches. He has hit a batter. He has walked a batter. And now he's falling behind on the Tigers cleanup man, Castellanos. Swing and a miss.
Already lots of off-speed pitches, partner, in fastball counts. I know the Tigers are watching for that. Oh, I messed up call Sam today, didn't I?
Well, that's all right. The Bernstein advantage does belong to Castellanos. He's got a 5-game streak. And here are the numbers you quoted. 12 for 22, couple of homers. 10 driven in that 5-game streak.
Now, does that mean I wasn't paying attention when we rehearsed today?
Well, I didn't want to say anything, but that's all right. Swing and a miss, down he goes. So Tillman comes back and records the strikeout, 2 away. It'll bring up Victor Martinez. That's a huge early strikeout here for Tillman. Victor Martinez, the happiest guy in the ballpark tonight. He gets to play because the last 3 days in Pittsburgh, no DH.
Tigers had a difficult time of driving in a run yesterday, even though they had themselves in situations where they usually capitalize. It just wasn't that way yesterday against the Pittsburgh Pirates and their starter, Ivan Nova.
Victor waves and misses 0-1.
It might take the Tigers the first time through the order to really figure out what Tillman's doing differently here. They can watch him on video and they can see him throwing more breaking balls as he has done, and the numbers back that up. But until you see a guy and you're standing in that batter's box 60 feet 6 inches away from him, you don't understand what the pitchers are doing.
The other thing is, and we've touched on this stuff-wise, he does not have the heater he had a couple of years ago.
No.
So, I mean, this is not really the same guy that they're used to seeing or saw earlier in his career.
Nor is he pitching inside. The only pitch that he's thrown inside today was that pitch that hit Jamer Candelario, and that pitch was meant to be outside.
May 7th of last year, the last time Tillman won a game. That's a span of 27 appearances. Now 1-2 on V-Mart. Here you go. Of the 27 appearances, 22 were starts.
He was a free agent after this season, last season, excuse me, and he had no takers really, other than the Baltimore Orioles, and he decided to sign back with Baltimore in February.
Tillman's first 3 starts just not good at all. He made some progress in his last start. Now the 1-2. And Victor takes low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. By the way, if the Tigers combine for 3 or more home runs in this game, bring a copy of the box score to a participating Arby's location tomorrow, and you'll get a free small order of curly fries. Victor limited to a couple of pinch hitting appearances in Pittsburgh. Well, if he goes 3-2 here, the Tigers will be able to start the runners. Here's the 2-2, and he will go 3-2. So now the Tigers will get a head jump on the bases. Meanwhile, on deck is Jacoby Jones. Tigers would love to get off to a nice start in this one, especially after being really frustrated yesterday in Pittsburgh. Oh, I will say this. They hit some balls really hard at people yesterday.
They did.
V-Mart waits on a 3-2. Candelario got this thing started, hit by a pitch, and then a walk to Cabrera.
Tillman is working at a really slow pace. I know his defenders behind him. They would love to see him speed it up a little bit.
I think a couple of broadcasters would as well. Here's the 3-2 pitch. And Vimard hits one in the air toward left field, moving toward the line. Mancini, he'll get there to retire the side. Tigers get a hit, runner, and a walk. They strand 2, and we go to the bottom of the first in Baltimore. Here come the Orioles now as we go to the bottom of the first here in Baltimore. Mike Fiers on the hill for the Tigers tonight, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
And Mike has pitched some pretty good baseball for the Tigers. He's had 3 starts. He checks in 2-1 with a 3.71 ERA. He beat the Kansas City Royals his last time out, and every time he goes out there so far gives his team a legitimate chance of winning.
So Trey Mancini will get things started here for the Orioles. Tigers stranded a pair in the top of the first, and Mike Fiers going to work now. Mancini, a .278 batting average. And he'll take ball 1 outside.
Fiers has a fastball that will go anywhere from 86 to 90, sometimes 91. He's got a nice curveball. He's got a slider and a split changeup that he throws a lot when he's behind in the count.
Mike 2-0 career against the O's. Here's the 1-1. Strike called on the outer edge, and Mancini did not agree. 1-2.
A nice little slider there thrown by Mike Fiers at 79 miles an hour.
Swing and a miss. Mancini's out of there. Here's the rest of the lineup for the Orioles, presented by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. And Fiers will look at this lineup here tonight. You saw Mancini. Peterson is next, followed by Machado and Jones. The middle of their lineup is pretty formidable. Davis at first base, then Valencia. Bottom 3 of Alvarez, Gentry, and Caleb Joseph. Jace Peterson now, the newly acquired Jace Peterson off the waiver wire.
Fiers' top fastball will probably be about 87, 88, but he gets lots of swings and misses on that pitch. Look at Mancini here. Good fastball hitter, but that's just 87, but right by him. But you'll see several of the hitters tonight have difficulty with that. That's the slowest pitch I think he's thrown all year.
I think barely made it to the plate. Peterson waving right through it. Fiers did not strike out a single batter in 5 1/3 in his last start. He struck out Mancini to start this one. There's a chopper to the right side, foul.
I think I saw a note where he and Dan Petrie are the only Tigers pitchers in history to pitch at least 5 1/3 and not record 1 strikeout.
Peaches.
Peaches. Anytime you can get peaches in the broadcast.
Good man.
Had a good slider too. What a great slider.
Now 0-2 on Peterson. That floats up there at 66 miles an hour.
It's like the Joakim Soria pitch.
Yeah.
The first one he threw to him that he swung at was 65 miles an hour.
Chop to the shortstop, Iglesias. Peterson almost beat that out. 2 gone.
Let's take a look at the Tigers' defensive alignment this evening behind Tigers right-handed starter Mike Fiers. Jacoby Jones back in left today after getting the afternoon off yesterday. Leonis Martin in center, Nicholas Castellanos in right. Jamer Candelario, Jose Iglesias, Dixie Machado, Miguel Cabrera round out the infield, and James McCann, who's been hot with that bat lately, is behind the plate.
Now Manny Machado. And this guy's been going off in terms of the home run ball.
Well, this is the way you want to face Manny with the bases empty.
Machado off to a 347 start, 8 home runs, and you see the numbers against the Tigers back at Comerica, 6 for 12. And he hit 2 home runs in 1 game. So Fiers barely breaking the speed limit with his stuff and velocity here in the first inning.
Well, the Orioles are a really good fastball hitting team, and Mike Fiers knows that. Therefore, he's just trying to disrupt their timing early in this contest.
Driven deep to center field, way back. Martin going to the wall, gone.
We talked about Manny in the open today. And really, with 2 outs and nobody on, you have to pitch to him. But that should be the last time they pitch to him in the series. He's on fire.
3rd home run of the season against the Tigers for Machado, his 9th overall, and he just continues to torture opposing pitching. Two-out run for the Orioles. They lead 1-0.
Just a real good piece of hitting by Manny, who finally got a pitch that was down and away from him, 83 miles an hour, and flipped it over the center field wall. As a matter of fact, every last one of those pitches were away from Manny, and I think he had an idea that Fiers wasn't going to come inside, and he kind of leaned out over the plate and connected for the homer.
Strike 1 on Adam Jones. Jones 267 this year. He has hit safely down his last 4. That's up and in. It's an Orioles team that strikes out a lot. They will hit their share of home runs. They typically have in the past years, but they lead the league in strikeouts. It'll miss low. 2 balls, 1 strike on the very talented Adam Jones. 5 for 12, 4 RBIs in the first meeting between these 2 squads.
Jones has played over 70 games against the Tigers in his big league career, and he's done a lot of damage against Tigers pitching. Four home runs this year for Jones, who came over in the deal with tonight's starter Chris Tillman several years ago with Seattle in the Eric Bedard deal. And when Tillman was going well and Jones was playing like he was playing, then that looked like a great trade for Baltimore. Right.
Still is when you get a guy like Jones. Slice to right, foul.
And even the success that Tillman had before last year. They also got George Sherrill in that deal, and there was a couple of years where Sherrill was a pretty good player. He made an all-star team.
Really good. Effective pitcher out of the bullpen. 2-2 on Adam Jones. 1-0. Orioles have the lead. Popped him up. Shallow right field. It'll be Dixon Machado, and that'll end the inning. However, Manny Machado making his presence felt. Home run to dead center field, his 9th of the year. On the home run to dead center field, and now Jacoby Jones will get it going here for the Tigers in the second, and he looks at ball one from Tillman.
Chris Tillman has a real simple delivery. As a matter of fact, it looks like he's pitching from the stretch. Just a real small step back. The glove moves ever so slightly, and before he delivers that ball home, but really streamlined delivery by Chris Tillman.
Jacoby, meanwhile, recently had a 7-game hitting streak come to an end in Pittsburgh. Jacoby 2 out of 10 in that series. Had a nice series against the Orioles last week at Comerica. Now the 1-1. 1-2 on Jones.
Jacoby has taken that left field position and ran with it. And not only has he been swinging the bat very well, he's also been running the bases well, scoring runs. And he's a better left fielder than I thought he would be for being a natural center fielder. He's really good in left.
Swing and a miss. Down he goes on strikes. Second strikeout of the game for Tillman. Time now for Lowe's whole team together. We talked oftentimes, Rod, about how the Tigers as a club, maybe some individuals, but as a club as well, the hard hit rate is really good.
Wow. And 95 plus mile per hour exit velocity. And they're up there with the Boston and Toronto and the Seattle Mariners. So that's a welcome news right there. Miguel leads that charge.
Oh, very good offensive teams on that list. Here's McCann. Speaking of guys getting hot, James McCann now with an 8-game hitting streak.
He's been banging.
10 RBIs.
And the Baltimore Orioles are literally shifting on every single player.
Into right field, chasing Gentry back. 2 gone.
See if they shift on Iglesias. It used to be guys like Iglesias and Machado and, you know, some of the light hitting guys on the other team, Peterson. Those guys never got shifted
Ever.
on. They get shifted on now with regularity.
Well, say batting .218.
He got hot against the Baltimore Orioles in that series where the Tigers swept them. He batted .385 in that 3-game sweep and really hasn't cooled off since. Tigers are starting to leave the strike zone, swing that fastball up at the top of the zone. It looks so good, though. It's only 88 miles an hour, and as a hitter, it looks very inviting, but it is still a very difficult pitch to get on top of and do the things right that you need to do to keep that ball fair and on the line without popping it up in the air.
And to answer your question, they are not shifting on Iglesias. They're pretty much straight up. Well, you're right, though. I mean, we've seen teams send 3 defenders to the left side against Dixon Machado. There's a little chopper back up the middle. On the move to his left, Machado. And got him. Ooh, by half a step. And Iglesias says, I think I was safe.
They might check it.
I'm sure at least Ron Gardenhire has held him up while they make a decision on whether or not. That was a close play. Iglesias was smelling hit all the way down the line. Guardian now has 30 seconds to decide whether or not they want to challenge.
Strong arm here by Manny Machado.
And no challenge. Tigers go 1-2-3 in the second. AARP and career against the O's 2-0 with a 1.29. That was coming into play tonight. He had faced him only a couple of times, but had dominated them twice.
16 strikeouts and only 2 walks.
Really good. Fires gave up the home run to Machado in the first inning. Chris Davis will look at a ball up and in.
Chris Davis batting only 174, but homered a couple of times against the Tigers in that series at Comerica Park. Both home runs to left field.
That one is pulled foul down the right field line. And this is one of those guys that always gets shifted.
Yeah, he and Victor Martinez get shifted on as much as anybody in baseball. With batting left-handed, that for Victor.
Here's the 1-2. Well, Davis was signed to a long contract, a 7-year deal back in 2016. That'll keep him with the Orioles through 2022. Here's the 2-2 offering. Swing and a miss. He chased up top, one gone.
Yeah, he's going to get those fastballs all day long right up there.
A couple of punch outs now for Fires.
And it really doesn't matter which Tiger pitcher it is or the velocity of the fastball. He just has an area at the top of the strike zone where he just swings right through it. He's a good low ball hitter, but he has a difficult time with that fastball belt buckle or higher.
Trying to remember that home run that hit against the Tigers at Comerica. Wasn't that an elevated pitch, or am I thinking about another at bat?
It could have been. He hit 2, didn't he, in that series?
No, he hit 1 off the gate, which nearly was a home run.
Yeah.
That one is a double, and then he hit one out. Valencia, the batter, 171. Third baseman tonight for the Orioles. They were stricken again by another big injury. Tim Beckham is on the DL. So now they got Beckham out, they got Trumbo out, they got Scope out, they got Zach Britton out.
Yeah, they're hoping to get Trumbo back next week when they go to Anaheim to see Mike Trout and the Los Angeles Angels. And Jonathan Scope is going to start a rehab assignment as well down in the minor leagues. So they're getting closer to getting some of their pieces back. But how far behind will they be?
Yeah,
the Boston Red Sox when they get healthy?
That is the issue. Swing and a miss again up top. This time Valencia goes chasing. 2 gone. Here's some of the guys, Rod, we're talking about. I forgot about Colby Rasmus as well.
Yeah, hip flexor, oblique, a quadricep injury for Trumbo. He's the closest to coming back. Boy, did they miss Zach Britton in the back of that bullpen.
And Buck Showalter just finding out the other day that Beckham on the DL as well. So they are dropping quickly here in Baltimore.
I mean, you add Scope in here, and Drew drove in 100 runs last year. You add Trumbo, who has 40 homer potential. I mean, it's a totally different offense.
No doubt about that. They are 6-19 coming into play.
This is the worst start they've gotten off to since 1988.
Now, if you had maybe another season where the division leader was maybe 3 or 4 over 500, you could still tread water a bit.
Yeah, but Boston is rolling.
They're 19-5 for the Red Sox. Bouncing ball left side. Candelario has it, and out at first base, Alvarez. 1-2-3 for Mike Fiers.
Your own power. How about Dixon Machado? About April 18th at Comerica Park, a walk-off home run, the first of his major league career. Of all people,
He'll never forget it.
never.
And Dixon leads it off here and looks at ball one. I saw a number on Tillman which really stood out to me. Number 9 hitters, which Machado is tonight, are 5 for 7 against him. 7.14 average this year. And Machado looks at the ball inside, run it to 2-0 on Dixon. Machado, Martin, Candelario here in the Tiger third, down by a run. In there, a strike called, high strike that time for Tillman. It's a pretty good start this year for Machado. A lot of doubles early. Has 9 extra base hits this year. 8 of those are doubles. And he'll look at ball 3 outside. 3-1.
Coming into play today, I mean, this kind of puts it in perspective for Tillman. He had pitched 17 innings. He had given up 30 hits. He had walked 11.
Ouch.
That's 41 base runners in 17 innings. Talk about pitching in traffic.
Here is Jones coming in on the line drive for the 0-1 gone. Well, you can see the Tigers take on the Tampa Bay Rays Monday, April 30th through Wednesday, May the 2nd. Enjoy great savings with the weekday value pack. 4 tickets, hot dogs, drinks, and chips for as little as $18 per person. What a deal. For tickets, go to tigers.com/value.
I think what the Baltimore Orioles have kind of convinced him into doing, Mario, and we're seeing a lot of it tonight from Tillman, they've kind of convinced him into throwing more breaking balls. Because all of the home runs he's given up this year have been on fastballs. And the majority of his extra base hits have all been on fastballs too. So he's already thrown a lot of breaking balls today.
Well, he had walked 10 in his first 3 starts, only 1 walk in his last start. It's fouled straight back.
Ratio not good for Tillman after 40 pitches.
You wonder how much of an effect the shoulder injury had. As you mentioned, it bled into last year, spring champ, and at the start of last season.
Right.
Clearly not the same guy that was so dominant and has been against the Tigers over the years.
I'm not a doctor, but it is a little bit more difficult for guys that come back from shoulder injuries than it is to come back from Tommy John surgery. And sometimes you don't even have to have surgery on the shoulder.
The 1-2.
Uh-oh.
Into shallow right field, and that is going to be caught by Gentry. What's going on here? We got to be in the booth, and while we work on the speed, let's check in with Johnny Can.
Well, you guys were talking earlier about Jeimer Candelario getting the day off yesterday with some discomfort in his left wrist. Ron Gardner said he took some hacks in the cages earlier today. Everything checked out. I talked to Jeimer. He said everything's good. Everything's fantastic. Now, we showed you briefly when he got on base after being hit by a pitch, and we'll show you again should he get on. But he's wearing a protective wrap on his left wrist once he get on base. Not the full oven mitt that we see a lot of guys use, but the bench coach Steve Little had noticed some things that when he was sliding into bases, he was jutting or jamming his wrist a little bit on his way into the bag. So they're hoping with that protective rubber padding that will alleviate some of the strain on that left wrist, guys.
Yeah, Johnny, you think of problems with swinging the bat, but you never really think about that hand that goes down to brace your body when you make that slide and aggravating it. So Jeimer using a little bit more protection on that wrist.
And before they had those oven mitts, though, what we would do is we would simply, when we got to first base, if you had that problem of jamming your wrist when you did slide, you would just take your batting gloves off. Once you got to first base, you take your batting gloves off and you put them in your hand. And that way, when you did slide into the base, if you did hit the ground with your hand, it was with your fist. It wasn't with your flat hand, and that prevented you from hurting yourself.
That'll miss inside. And I'm trying to remember, and I remember seeing a lot of highlights or photos of guys stealing bases, and a lot of times they would go in with hands up into the bag.
Yep, absolutely.
And that also would help you, but Jeimer trying to take some extra precaution on that wrist. Ground ball right side, and it's straight at Jace Peterson. He throws him out. Tigers go 1-2-3 for the second straight inning. Yesterday, Braves at Reds, Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozzie Albies combined for 5 hits, 4 runs scored, and 5 RBIs. Albies hit his 8th homer of the season. Also added an RBI double. Acuna, his first career homer. It only went 416 feet.
The future is now for the young players on the Atlanta Braves team. Dansby Swanson, their shortstop, #1 draft choice just a couple of years ago in the draft in the country, is off to a really good start, Mario, after really struggling last season.
Good young talent. We saw a few of those guys in spring training. Acuna obviously did not make the club out of spring training because the Braves want to control his contract for an additional year, but they weren't going to keep him down very long.
Well, they say he's a legit 5'2" player. They say that he can absolutely do everything. He draws early comparisons to Andrew Jones, who played center field for the Braves for about a decade and won about 10 Gold Gloves and was making all-star teams. Are you surprised Andrew Jones does not get more recognition as the player that he was for that decade?
I think the problem with Jones is
too long.
Yeah, he stayed too long, and his last few years just were not very good, and unfortunately people remember those years. Here are some of the youngest players in the major leagues. Albies, good looking play. Gleyber Torres,
he's tight too.
Yeah, one of the top prospects for the Yanks.
Rafael Devers is a good player too.
Only 21. Just missed there from Fires, and now Mike has gone behind 3-0.
And don't think Gentry will be swinging 3-0, but you never know these days. McCann set up right down the middle. He doesn't believe he's swinging either. That's about the only time you'll see the catcher set up right down the middle. He had his glove right in the middle of that box.
And Gentry took it.
Or strike zone, I should say.
Well, right down the middle again.
You can see McCann, he set up right down the middle, but a little tailing action to that last fastball.
Fires did a tremendous job in his first start of keeping the White Sox hitters off balance. Was really good in that first start of the year, coming out of spring camp late because of back issues. Swing and a miss.
Came back to get him.
He strikes out Gentry after falling behind 3-0. Fires now with 4 strikeouts.
He fell behind 3 balls and no strikes and came back with 2 fastballs, and then he finished them off with that split changeup. Look at this thing tumble once it gets in the hitting zone. Right off the fingertips. Beautiful pitch.
Here's Caleb Joseph.
That's 4 strikeouts.
His season high was 6 in that ball game we spoke of against the White Sox. Didn't strike anybody out in his last start. against the Royals. Joseph sends a ground ball to short. Routine there for Iglesias. 2 gone. That's 6 in a row retired now following the Manny Machado home run. Here's Trey Mancini.
And Mancini likes to swing the bat on the first 2 pitches. He did a lot of that in the 3-game series at Comerica Park. Not your typical leadoff hitter. He's been doing a nice job for Buck Showalter in the leadoff spot. But he's not waiting around. He doesn't take a lot of pitches.
Swing and a miss. Well, Mancini leading off .319 this year in the top position in the lineup.
And that's a perfect pitch by Fiers. When you know a guy's up there aggressive, you don't have to throw him a strike. And you can get ahead of him.
Third in the Rookie of the Year voting last year, Mancini. He sits safely in his last 4 against the Tigers. Had a good series back at Comerica. High chop, third base side. Jamer waits for it to drop. And his throw is in time as Cabrera held on to the bag.
Miggy kept his big toe on the bag.
1-2-3 inning. Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire. All right, Mick, here it is 1-0 on a solo home run by Manny Machado. And Chris Tillman goes back to work. He's got the middle of the Tigers lineup here. He's got Miggy, he's got Castellanos, and then Victor.
Those Cleveland Indians are starting to heat up a little bit, although they're dealing with a few injuries themselves, but their bats have awakened.
Ground ball back up the middle. It'll be Peterson. Slings it on to first, 1 gone. Andrew Miller landed on the DL,
right,
for the Indians.
Hamstring, yeah.
1 gone now for Castellanos. Nicholas a strikeout in the first inning. Meanwhile, Mr. Tillman has retired 9 in a row. Nick trying to break that up here. Pulled on the ground to third, hop there for Valencia. And a scoop at first by Davis. 2 gone.
You have to have soft hands over at first base. They talk about soft hands at shortstop and third base, but your first baseman has to have soft hands as well when picking balls out of the dirt. And that's a real nice job there by Davis. So he told him, I got you. He told Valencia that.
Save Valencia throwing error. Now Victor. Martinez fly to left field back in the first inning. Tigers' best scoring chance. In fact, their only scoring chance. They had a hit batter and a walk. Vimard looks at a ball outside. Left-handed batters this year came in hitting .474 against Tillman. A lot of elevated numbers really all the way across the board for Tillman. There's the defensive alignment. Valencia has shifted to the right side from his third base position.
And the opposition has shifted on Victor 82% of the time that he has batted left-handed this year, and that has been the majority of his at-bats. And the data that we have says that they've taken 4 base hits away from Victor because of the shift.
Why do the Orioles send the third baseman Valencia to the right side? Better athlete on the left side?
Yeah, Manny can handle that shortstop position. And probably covers more ground than Valencia. Better glove.
Vimard will take a walk. 2-out base runner.
And you remember when Nick was playing third base, they would take him and move him all the way over into the outfield. But now Ron Gardenhire doesn't do it that way. He just moves guys accordingly, just shuffles guy over.
Well, here is Jacoby Jones. Jacoby struck out in the second. Strike one in the inside part of the plate. At 82 miles an hour. Jones at 269 in the year, couple of homers.
Jacoby's going to have to cut down on his swing. He struck out a couple of times in Pittsburgh 2 days ago, the second game of the doubleheader, on breaking balls. And that's one thing about baseball. The opposing team is always watching your most recent at-bats. Yeah. They're always watching your most recent at-bats. And if you've fallen vulnerable to one pitch or two, they will figure it out.
Swing and a miss, and Jones down on strikes for the second time. Tigers get a walk, strand a man. We go to the bottom of the fourth.
we didn't see in his last start against Kansas City. You know, he scattered 10 hits in 5 1/3 innings in that game, but he said he felt like he was getting early swings. Just a lot of those ground balls were finding holes. But the other thing Mike Fiers was dealing with in that last start was a little bit of a sore back. I talked to him about it. He said, well, you know what? Every day's a little bit better. But we're all going through things right now. But right now it looks like the back's loosened up a little bit, and he seems to be in quite a groove here. Mario, Ron?
Yeah, and you really never know what these guys are going through, because I guarantee you there are nagging injuries really 1 through 25 on the entire roster. I know it's still early in the season, but that's something that Fiers was dealing with in spring camp.
Yeah, it was the back that landed him on the disabled list to begin the season.
Jace Peterson leading it off. It'll be Peterson, Machado, and Jones. Well, still so far so good. Aside from the home run by Machado, Fiers doing some pretty good work here tonight. He's got a couple of 1, 2, 3 innings going. It'll dive in there at 67 miles an hour. There is Manny Machado on deck. Peterson bounced out his first time. Ground ball right side this time. Backhanded by Miggy. Fiers covers for the out.
You've got one job to do once the ball is hit to the right side of the infield if you're the pitcher. And if the first baseman is fielding it, you've got to get to that bag, and he didn't hesitate. Nice feed by Miguel. And the key for pitchers on that play is to get yourself over to the bag in enough time to where you can catch the ball and then look at the bag and put your foot on it and not try to get there at the same time that you're trying to catch it and find the bag.
Here is Machado. I know that was a fairly routine play for Cabrera, but I think he's still underrated defensively at first.
I do too. He makes all the plays.
Hey, every once in a while,
Gardy talking about him the other day. He said, you know, you really don't know a guy until you see him play every day. And from the other dugout, we knew he was a good athlete, could, you know, play third early in his career. But he has nice hands, accurate arm. More than just a thunderous bat. 1-2 on Machado.
Machado's looking for something away from him, and if he gets it up and stays away, he's going to hit it hard somewhere. As hot as he is, you might want to try to go inside on him. You might be able to get him.
Three home runs this year now against Tigers pitching for Machado. It'll bounce in 2-2.
There's the hot and cold zones for Manny. That little dash up and away, he has not put a ball in play there. He likes it up down the middle. He likes it inside. Maybe that's why they continue to stay away from him. He doesn't like the ball down either. They went right to one of those cold zones, didn't they?
Well, Fiers now is at 50. Playing to pull on the infield. To the third baseman, Candelario. Nice easy hop. His throw almost pulled him off the bag. 2 away. Menards brings you the big money encounter. There's big Michael Fulmer.
Man, his stuff yesterday was absolutely lethal. I mean, it was electric. He had a fastball that got up to 98 and that wipeout slider. But the Tigers just couldn't get a run for him. Boy, he deserved to win that contest yesterday. How good is Michael Fulmer?
Well, he's kind of used to it.
He had to leave that start yesterday. He said that his right hand started to cramp up a little bit. He got a little wild there in his final inning that he pitched yesterday. But he said he thought it was just dehydration.
There's a bottom note on that stat there. He's been involved now in 4 1-0 losses the last 2 years for the Tigers.
Oh, my goodness.
4 of them.
He was awfully good yesterday. About as good as we've seen him in a long time. Everything's coming together for Michael. He had the really good slider against Kansas City 2 starts ago. Then he had a live fastball last night. Well, yesterday.
Jones pops it up. Shallow center field. Martin coming in, calling and catching in a 1-2-3 inning. 10 straight retired by my Fires.
That's a great point. See, we talked about that yesterday. I believe it was Leonis Martin on a very close play who did hit the front part of that bag. And I think he did get that hit, didn't he, yesterday? It was overturned, and he got that hit after he was initially called out. That's a great observation on your part. That's what they tell you. Always try to hit the first part of the bag, especially on close plays.
Isn't it amazing, Rod, how little minute things that you really don't think about can affect the course of a ball game?
Yeah, very easily could have been a single there by Iglesias had he hit the front part of the bag.
McCann leading things off here in the top of the 5th inning, 1-0 in favor of the Orioles.
Simo, was that what you were told as a base runner when running down that line?
Chopped to third base on the backhand there. Valencia will throw him out. 1 gone.
Seymour, you got your PF Flyers on today?
Jay walking. Hey, you guys talk about little things like that, but Simo, would that be something you guys would work on during spring training, where to hit the bag, little things like that, or is that something that you just talk about? Here is Iglesias now with 1 out. He'll drive one down the left field line, foul.
Hey, see, I have another question for you. And what did you do, or did you have the problem of jamming your wrist when sliding? We see a lot of guys wearing the oven mitts now. I know I used to put my batting gloves in my hand to make sure that I didn't jam my wrist when I slid into second base or third base. Did you do anything differently? Did you have that problem?
That ball rocketed to the gap, and Iglesias will cruise into second with a one-out double.
Yeah, that is the hardest ball hit so far against Tillman, who has pretty much kept the Tigers off balance, even though he came in with really elevated numbers. Oh, Jose Iglesias hit this ball about as hard as Jose could hit a ball. See, he had no problem touching the bag on this one. Thinking two right out of the box.
Tigers have the tying run in scoring position now for Dixon Machado. And Machado looks at a strike. Sewell, thanks for the insight. We'll see you a little bit later on in the telecast. Well, Machado lined the ball sharply to third base in his last at bat. Now the 0-1 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike.
When you look at Dixon's straight chart, he is right now pull happy. And you said the other day that Ron Gardenhire would like to see him and try to drive the ball the opposite way, at least after he's gotten 2 strikes on it. But right now, if you look at his straight chart, man, he's really pull happy.
He'll pull it again, this time to third, and Valencia throws another one in the dirt, but it's scooped. Meanwhile, taking third is Iglesias. Boy, he has bailed him out. Davis, that is, twice.
That's just a good scouting report there by Iglesias. He knows that once Valencia throws this ball across the diamond, the guy at first base, Chris Davis, although he did a nice job of picking it, throwing is not one of his strong suits. So it would be tough for him to grab that ball and then throw it back to third base to get Iglesias out. Good base running instincts by Jose.
So it'll bring him Leonis Martin now with 2 away.
Leonis will bunt for a base hit if you give him too much room. With a runner on third, less than 2 outs, even though he's swinging the bat very well.
2 fly balls in this game, 1 to center, 1 to right.
Had a nice conversation with Leonis last night when we got to the hotel. He said he is having as much fun right now as he's ever had in his life playing baseball. Getting a chance to play every single day in center field, leading off of the Detroit Tigers. Ron Gardenhire showing a tremendous amount of confidence in him.
Gardy, in his meeting today with the media, was talking about Martin. He said the one thing you guys don't realize about Leonis, he is constantly chirping on the bench. And he's a very funny individual that has a lot of great one-liners, but it's the pitch of his voice that makes everybody laugh.
Right.
He's got that high-pitched
He
squeak.
does have that voice.
But he is into the game, and you can tell he's having fun. I mean, look at the numbers. First 21 games last season, this season.
Yeah, he spent the majority of the season last year playing in AAA for the Seattle Mariners in Tacoma, Washington. Over 300 at-bats in the minor leagues last year for Leonis. That had to be tough for him. He's swing too big right now.
Yeah, way too big. One and two. Tillman's first trouble since the first inning when he hit a batter and walked a batter. Had a streak of 10 straight, retired before walking Vmart in the 4th. And the Tigers get their first hit here in the 5th, a double by Iglesias. Wooden chase, 2-2 now on Martin. Tigers in that series against the Pirates batted .307 as a team, but they have not gotten it going yet against Tillman.
Tough to lose the series when you hit over 300 as a team.
Yeah, agreed.
And you get the kind of day that Michael Fulmer had yesterday. But that's baseball.
Went around, it looked like. Yep, sure did. Struck him out. Martinez gone, so are the Tigers. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. Have a 1-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the 5th, and Mr. Mike Fiers is on a roll right now. He's going to face Davis, Valencia, and Alvarez. And the only run in this game so far, the homer by Manny Machado with 2 outs in the 1st. Davis a strikeout victim. 4 punch outs in this game for Fiers. He stays away, and Davis lays off. We're talking his last at bat, Rod, about the 7-year deal they signed him, and the numbers have declined the last couple of years.
Yeah, they have not got much returns on their investment. Not at all. No,
and when you sign a player who has done as much as Davis had prior to that contract, it's still that many seasons is a gambit. Buck Showalter has had a tough start to this year with his team.
I mean, they felt like they were signing Davis right in the prime of his career.
Here's the 2-1. 3-1 now on Davis.
It's going to be very difficult for Baltimore to retain Adam Jones, who's a free agent after this season is over. Manny Machado also a free agent. Isn't Britton a free agent as well? Their closer,
is that I'm not sure. There's a strike.
I believe Zach Britton's a free agent as well.
Well, he is actually. So yes, that's some talent right there. All 3 of those guys. 3-2 on Chris Davis. High fly ball. He got under this one. Shallow right field. Castellanos. 1 gone. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by the Sam Bernstein Law Firm, official legal services sponsor of Fox Sports Detroit. Bell Tire, for tires and auto service, everybody needs a Bell Tire guy. And by Chevrolet, the most awarded and fastest growing brand the last 4 years overall. Back here in Baltimore on a nice night for baseball. There was some rain here early this morning, but that has moved out. There's a high fly ball to left center field. Jacoby Jones coming under, calling, and catching on number 2.
Yeah, last 3 outs recorded by Mike Fiers. Lazy fly balls off the bat of Jones, Davis, and Valencia.
Fires now will face Pedro Alvarez. DHing tonight for the Orioles. High drive into deep right center field. Alvarez got hold of this one. See you later. A deep drive to right center, a 2-out solo shot, 2-0 Baltimore.
If you're going to give up home runs, solo shots are better than giving up home runs, obviously, with runners on base. A fastball, 88 miles an hour, that didn't get quite high enough in the strike zone.
Your strike, Gentry. Ball one.
And pretty good swing here by Pedro Alvarez, former #1 draft choice out of Vanderbilt by the Pittsburgh Pirates. Hit a lot of home runs playing for Pittsburgh.
36 one year. There's a fly ball to shallow center. It's going to be Leonis Martin, and that'll end the inning. Orioles get one more on the home run by Alvarez, and we go to the 6th. Giving the Orioles a 2-0 lead as we go to the 6th inning. Mario and Rod back here in Baltimore. And Rod, I guess when you look at Mike Fiers, yes, the 2 solo shots, but he's done really well tonight.
He really has. He's mixed up all of his pitches. I think the Baltimore Orioles, they're more accustomed to him throwing fastballs in the strike zone. He's thrown a lot of really slow pitches today. He's thrown a couple of eephus pitches at 65, 66.
What has Tillman done here tonight that he hadn't done in his first 4 starts?
Well, he's pitching differently against the Tigers. He's had success against the Tigers in the past. But one of the ways he's had success in the past is when that fastball up in the strike zone. But today, lots of first pitch breaking balls. He's not really giving into them with that fastball because he no longer throws 96 miles an hour. He's just kept them off balance. Iglesias is the only one to put the ball in play with any authority so far.
I have a feeling before this one is done, the Tigers will get something going here against Tillman.
Well, you'd like to get him soon because Buck Showalter's not going to let him stay in much longer. Anybody gets on base, Buck's going to get that bullpen up, because the one thing you want Tillman to leave today with, Mario, if you're Buck Showalter, you want him to leave with a good taste in his mouth.
Yeah, no doubt.
Regardless of whether he wins or loses, you want him to feel good about this outing today.
1-2 the count. Jamer. And Candelario watches one bounce in. 2-2. It'll be Candelario, Cabrera, Castellanos here in the Tigers 6, down by 2. Here's how they play Jamer defensively.
And Jamer will take the ball the other way. especially with 2 strikes.
Swing and a miss. Candelario down on strikes. 5 strikeouts now for Tillman. Hey, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Download the app and take Fox Sports Detroit, Tigers baseball with you wherever you go. Made available by Oakland University.
43% of the pitches today have been fastballs for Tillman, so he's throwing a lot of off-speed pitches, and a lot of them are changeups. 22% is the changeup, so he's throwing only 43% fastball. The other 57, some kind of off-speed pitch, and that's not the norm for Chris Tillman, not against the Tigers.
Cabrera, a walk and a ground out. 2-0.
Miggy's in that predictable fastball count, but judging by the way that Tillman has pitched here today, he's probably going to throw Miggy something off speed.
Two and 1. Both starters have had good stretches. Tillman at one point retiring 12 in a row. Fires at one point 10 in a row. Now the 2-1. 3-1 on Cabrera.
These are the best 5 innings that Tillman has pitched in a calendar year. He hasn't won a game since last May.
Now he's gone 3-1 on Cabrera. Swing and a miss. 3-2. One thing we have not seen tonight from either side is an overpowering fastball.
Nope.
Neither one of these guys, but yet here we are. It's only 2-0.
Yeah, you don't have to have a 95-mile-per-hour fastball to be successful in the big leagues. You just have to have good location.
Emergency hack there, and Cabrera sent one right into the dugout.
Almost got the first base coach, Wayne Kirby.
High fly ball center field, connected well. Jones goes back to the wall to make the catch. Oh, I thought he got it. Miggy fell a little bit short.
Another hard hit ball for McGill.
Two away now for Castellanos. You're so conditioned, Rod, in this ballpark, when you hear the crack of the bat like that, especially coming off of Miguel Cabrera, in this ballpark where the ball really flies.
Yeah, this is a really good hitting park. Every single year it is right up there in the top 5 in home runs given up.
And just look on Miggy's face, just missed it. Ball 1 to Castellanos. Strikeout, ground out for Nicholas. Only Tiger hit a double in the 5th by Iglesias. They got him to third base, but no farther. Big down at 323 for the year. Fly ball on a broken bat. Shallow right field and caught by Gentry. Tigers go 1-2-3.
Fires has pitched a really good game. He's only given up 2 home runs in the game, 2 solo shots. One came off the bat of Manny Machado, and that was in the first inning, his 9th of the year. He came on the 3rd pitch of the at-bat, and Alvarez, he ambushed Mike on the very first pitch of his at-bat. An 87-mile-per-hour fastball, straightaway center field. That is all the scoring.
That's it. And now Fires goes to work here in the bottom of the 6th inning. He's got Joseph, Mancini, and Peterson.
Tigers shut out yesterday, so they've gone their last 15 innings without scoring a run.
Joseph shoots one fair over the bag at third base. This will be extra bases. He's on his way to second with a stand-up double.
James McCann said thought that ball was foul.
It looked foul to me. But right there to make the call was Alfonso Marquez. He was right on it, but it looked foul. And James right now is telling Cardi he thinks that's a foul ball. But anything in front of the umpire is not reviewable.
Right. Right over the bag.
Yeah, fair ball. Leadoff double for Joseph. Now Mancini with nobody out. Mancini ground out and strikeout. Drilled to center field on a line, but right there is Martin.
Martin has a very strong throwing arm. No way Joseph is going to tag up on Martin.
Man, you're not kidding on Mancini. He just goes up there slinging.
He does, doesn't he?
Another first pitch that he puts in play.
Martin has 51 outfield assists from center field since the beginning of the 2013 season from center field, which is the most in the big leagues for center fielder. He has 53 total, which ranks him 4th highest in the majors for any outfielder. So he's got a really good arm.
Here is Peterson. Strike one right at the belt of Jace Peterson. Acquired off the waiver wire from the Yankees when they lost yet another infielder, Tim Beckham. They're trying to get Joseph in from second base. 1 out. Down a couple of infielders along with Beckham, Scope on the DL, and the 2 people they had playing really have been underperforming. And it's sprayed back out of play. One and 2 on Jace Peterson, who a couple of years ago was an everyday player with the Atlanta Braves. Another foul back out of play.
That's a nice job there by Mike Fires, hitting the glove of James McCann. On that strike zone that we put up before every single pitch, McCann had his glove right at the top of the strike zone, trying to get Peterson to swing through that fastball.
70 now for Fires, so his pitch count in great shape all night. It'll dive low. 2-2 the count. Fires allowing the Machado homer in the 1st and the Alvarez homer in the 5th. Tigers meanwhile managing 1 hit so far against Tillman. Ground ball up the middle. It hit the bag and it rolls into right field. That'll get a run in. Peterson diving into second. He's safe. How about that for some bad luck? You think Iglesias gets to that ball?
Somebody gets that ball for sure. There's no doubt that that play would have been made by Jose Iglesias. It was another high fastball that Peterson was able to get on top of that one. He hit it sharply, but there's no doubt Iglesias makes that play.
Peterson diving in just ahead of the tag of Iglesias.
It's a hustling double for Jace Peterson.
First base open. Machado will not bat. They want no part of him. They will walk him intentionally. Chevrolet's most dependable player is Mr. Machado in terms of increase in batting average from last year.
88-point differential. He hit 259 last year, up to 347 this year. Some other guys on the list with big number switches. Hanley Ramirez, we talked about Dansby Swanson earlier, and of course Miguel Cabrera hit 249 last year, hitting 325 when play began tonight.
So here is Adam Jones now with 2 on and 1 out.
You got to make a real good pitch here to Adam Jones. He's a free swinger. You don't have to throw him a strike for him to swing at.
Fouled away. Case in point.
That's just a real nice job of knowing your hitters, and the fact, Mario, that you know Adam's going to be aggressive because they just walk Manny to get to him. And you're not going to do a lot of damage with that pitch right there.
Pop up and a fly ball for Jones, 0 for 2.
Adam used to be a dead pull hitter, but he's spraying the ball all around the diamond. And these days, that's why they don't overshift on him as much as they used to.
Strike called in the outside corner, 0-2.
See, the defenders are pretty much straight up. Machado, Iglesias at shortstop, just a slight pull, but they used to play Adam with 3 defenders on the left side of the infield.
.22 now on Jones. Let's see, fires by inning now. He's up to 75 in this game. Pretty good.
Yeah, really only one stressful inning up until this point. That was the first when he threw 18 pitches, but that's not bad.
In the air toward left center field, not deep. Martin calling, runners will hold. Jones is out. 2 away. We'll bring up Chris Davis. He is 0 for 2. Strikeout, fly out. Orioles get another run, a couple of doubles in this inning. Joseph and Peterson, the ball Peterson hit bounced off the bag. .294 this year wrist for Davis. Well, the shift starting to take place.
Davis probably has not had one at bat this year where they haven't shifted on him like this. We told you they've shifted on Victor Martinez. 82% of his plate appearances batting left-handed so far this year.
Ball 1. There's that elevated pitch, but this time Davis laid on.
Faced the shift since the beginning of 2012. 74% they move on him. Leads all active players. But there was a time when you couldn't put anybody over that fence, though, when Davis was hit. That shift didn't mean a thing.
Way high again. He overthrew that time. And now 2-0. So Davis in a very nice hitter's count here.
Mike Fiers will not give in to Davis here, in my opinion. You've got 2 outs. You still have a base open, even though that base is third base. You don't want to allow him to hit it out of the ballpark.
Yep, I think you're right. Ball 3.
You know, and I think he feels comfortable enough that he could make some quality pitches to Valencia. Xfinity tells us that Mike Fiers has topped out at 89 today and has gone as low as 64 with one of those eephus pitches that he's thrown. He's thrown one at 64, 65.
He'll take 3-1 now, Davis. Davis been on base 17 of his last 18 against the Tigers. He's given time here. Now Fiers ready with the 3-1. Swing and a miss. There it is, top of the zone now, 3-2.
And James McCann will have his glove right back up there at the top of the strike zone again. Nice job by Mike Fiers hitting that glove. If you're Davis, you know they're going back up there.
I was about to say the same thing. Oh, they got the runner going to third base now. Nobody covering. Peterson will pick up 90 feet with the shift. He took advantage. How about that? It's amazing you don't see more of this.
Yeah, he just took off earlier than he normally would. They're running anyway. 3-2, 2 outs. He just took off earlier and than he needed to, and that was a nice spin move by Mike Fiers, but nobody was going to be there. It looked like Ron Gardner was trying to get somebody's attention.
Fiers now finally brings it to the stretch. Going up top. Swing and a miss. Davis out on strikes to retire the side. Orioles get another run though on the double by Peterson.
The NFL draft continues tonight, and so we got an unscientific poll inside the Tigers clubhouse earlier today. What Tigers player would translate to the best NFL player? A couple of names thrown out there, certainly good size and stature. Nico Goodrum, Victor Reyes, those guys more wide receiver types. Miguel Cabrera's name came up. They thought he could be a run stopper alongside of Joe Jimenez, which I thought was good. But the most interesting for me, Rod and Mario, they thought that Daniel Norris, our man, could be a slot receiver. Kind of in the mold of a Danny Amendola, you know what I'm saying?
I'm liking Joe Jimenez, man. Big pulling guard, Joe Jimenez.
There you go.
Johnny, did you know that Ron Allen was a tight end in high school?
I don't question it.
Yeah, I played a little bit.
Okay.
Johnny,
Santa Monica High School?
Yes, indeed. The Vikings.
Okay, what was that 40 time, Rod?
My 40 time was probably, we ran 60s in pro ball.
Okay.
I mean, and when I got into to pro ball, we ran 60s.
All right. What is it today?
I haven't ran one in a while, but I used to be about 6'7", 6'8", which wasn't bad for a big guy.
No, you can work with that. That'll work.
Wasn't bad.
Johnny, you look comfortable just hanging out with the fans.
Comfortable. Everybody else seems to be having beverages, but I'm just going to hold firm on this one.
Yeah, stay away from that.
You didn't bring your pocketbook with you anyway. You know that. We know that.
Yeah, you're right. That seems to be a pattern if you've noticed. I do a lot of borrowing on the road.
It's an ugly pattern. All right, it's Victor Martinez here in the 7th. Tigers trying to get the bats going. 3-0 Orioles have the lead. Now Tillman with the 1-1. And Vimard looks at a strike right at the knees.
What is up with Tillman today? I mean, this is kind of puzzling, though. I mean, the guy's numbers coming in were just not pretty at all. We're talking about for a calendar year.
Well, we mentioned he did make some progress in his last start and that he slowed down in the walks. And that was something that really helped him out.
We've noticed an adjustment, though, as far as his pitch usage. I mean, with the fastball, not using that pitch nearly as much as he used to against the Tigers. But he was also a guy that threw a lot harder then, throwing a lot more breaking balls, a lot more changeups.
Vimard waits on the 2-2.
Here comes that changeup again. I was reading an article on Tillman this morning, and he says that he doesn't want to totally abandon his fastball, but he does understand what they're saying to him as far as how they would like for him to pitch and how they would like to set up big league hitters these days. I think it's a norm in baseball where there are more breaking balls being thrown pretty much these days than fastball for most teams.
Ground ball to the outfield grass. Long throw is in time to get Victor.
Yeah, nice hop off that lip.
One gone. Well, join the Tigers in Kroger for the 7th annual Pink Out the Park Sunday, May 13th. Tigers take on the Mariners at 1:10. Special ticket package includes a Pink Out the Park t-shirt, donation to breast cancer research. Go to tigers.com/pinkouts and do your part. One away, that'll bring up Jacoby Jones.
They've been throwing Jacoby sliders all night.
Do you think this, what you were talking about, seeing more breaking balls than fastballs, is something that is just going to be sooner or later adjusted by the hitters going back the other way, or is this a trend, do you think?
I think it will be adjusted once hitters start to make the adjustment to sitting on a few breaking balls in certain counts.
Valencia's been busy down there, and Jones is out. I mean, it used to be, Rod, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if it was a 2-0 count, you're getting dead red, aren't you?
Yeah, 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. Those are fastball counts, but now there's no more predictable fastball counts. I mean, guys are throwing fastballs in 1-0 counts, and I mean breaking balls and fastballs, vice versa. They're pitching backwards. Buck has to be happy with what he has seen out of Tillman so far tonight.
They bring up a great point, though. They want to see him leave this start with a good taste in his mouth.
Yeah, this will probably be his last inning. Buck's not going to put Tillman in a situation where he will lose this game today. Put it that way.
McCann, a fly ball on the ground out.
What do you saw?
Tillman on another roll now. He's retired 7 straight. Looks like 8. Valencia in time for the out. Tigers go 1-2-3 here in the 7th inning. 3-0. Orioles have the lead coming up in Consumers Energy 7th inning stretch. On this couple of innings ago, the Tigers now had not scored since the 5th inning of game 2 of the doubleheader in Pittsburgh. They have not gotten a run, so it's kind of strange to see this offense go into a slump.
You know, and today is puzzling really because Tillman came in giving up 30 hits, 11 walks. That's 41 base runners and 17 innings of work so far this year, but he's kept the Tigers off balance. Iglesias is really the only guy that's barreled the ball up today.
All right, Mike Fiers, I know he's given up a couple of home runs in this game, but 3 runs going into the 7th inning here. You got to be pleased with that.
He's pitched well enough. I mean, he'd like to have back the home run balls that he gave up today, but by and large, he did a pretty nice job there. The Peterson kid got a lucky bounce on a base hit up the middle, or else that would have been an out. So Mike Fiers did a very nice job here today. Unfortunately for him, the offense just hasn't shown up yet, but they still have a couple of at-bats left tonight.
They do indeed. In the meantime, the Tigers now will bring on their newest player in a wall-side windows pitching change. It's going to be the former Pirate Johnny Barbado.
And Johnny was pitching some pretty good baseball down in the minor leagues. In 6 games, he had logged 7 2/3 innings. The earned run average was very respectable at 1.17, and he had punched out 9 and walked 3. Blaine Hardy was also pitching some very good baseball down in the minors, and some thought that Blaine would get called to the big leagues, but Blaine pitched a few days ago and he wasn't scheduled to throw again, so it was Barbado that got the call up.
A tip of the cap to Mike Fiers, who did some good work tonight. Tigers, though, have not been able to answer offensively, and we'll see what the Orioles do here in the 7th against Barbado. There's a check swing strike. Danny Valencia. Strikeout flyout for Valencia. Line to right center field. It's going to get down, a base hit. Castellanos cuts it off. And a leadoff single for Valencia.
And Barbado appeared in 24 games in relief, as you mentioned last year with Pittsburgh. 0-1 with a 4.08 ERA. Had 23 strikeouts. Also pitched in the minor leagues last year as well, AAA.
ERA and AAA pretty good too. Is 3.20.
Yeah, he's pretty young. He's only 25 years old. Out of Miami, Florida.
Alvarez homered in his last at bat against Mike Fiers. Ball one, snap throw back down to first. Pedro Alvarez at one time was a third baseman for the Pirates, hitting a lot of home runs. Then he really struggled defensively, made 27 errors a couple of years in a row.
And that really started to affect him from an offensive standpoint, his confidence.
High fly ball center field. He has tagged this one back to the track, to the wall, and gone.
Oh my goodness, Pedro, did you?
Alvarez, his second home run of the night, a two-run shot. Pretty good poke the other way. So Johnny Barbado is greeted brutally in his Tigers debut. Two homers on the night for Alvarez, and now 4 for the year. And the lead has expanded to 5-0 for Baltimore. Here's Gentry. Strike one.
Barbado's got a live arm. Look at that fastball right there at 96 miles an hour. That's a well above average fastball.
Gentry, fly ball and strikeout. Barbado, a waiver claim from Pittsburgh. The Tigers acquired him in January. Straight foul out of play. So the Orioles tonight have hit 3 home runs, 2 off the bat of Pedro Alvarez. The other belongs to Manny Machado. Ground ball left side, gobbled up there by Candelario. Gentry out by a step. One gone. Hey Detroit, it's April in the D and you need great food for tailgating, so here's your chance to enter the Win Groceries for a year from Aldi. To enter the Aldi Groceries for a year sweepstakes, go to foxsportsdetroit.com for your chance to win. Here's Caleb Joseph. Bullpen rod started out really pitching some pretty good baseball. They went through a really nice stretch, but recently, though, they've had their struggles.
I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the amount of innings that the starters have been giving them. I think there comes a time where when the starters are pitching really well, Ron Gardenhire can pick and choose who he wants to go to in that bullpen. But when you have a stretch of guys where they might go 3 or 4 or 5 innings and they're not giving that bullpen a chance to rest, I think the bullpen gets a little tired. So I think when the starters are pitching well, that bullpen's pitched well too. They go hand in hand.
Down the right field line, Castellanos coming toward the wall. Reaching in, did he get it? He did. Castellanos made the play.
It's a nice job by Nicholas not giving up on that ball. Snatched it.
Sure did. Nick had to deal with the fans and outdueled them. Top of the order now, Trey Mancini. 5-0 Orioles lead. A 2-run shot here by Alvarez. Swing and a miss. Mancini strikeout, ground out. He lined to center in his last at bat. 1 ball, 1 strike. Orioles came in with a 5-game losing streak, and they had dropped 11 of their last 12.
Scoring only 3 runs a game in that span. They have 5 today.
Swing and a miss. Two and two. Chase Peterson waiting on deck. Now Barbado with the 2-2. Bouncing ball to short. Iglesias. A bit of a funny hop. And that'll end the inning. They get 2 more runs to the home run by Alvarez. Tigers baseball tonight, presented by Bell Tire. Oriole Park at Camden Yards. We have a new hurler now for the Orioles. Wall side windows pitching change. It'll be Richard Blyer.
And Blyer, not a hard thrower. His fastball tops out at about 89 miles an hour. He also has a slider that he throws about 8% of the time, along with a cut fastball and a handful of changeups, mostly changeups to the right-handers that fade down and away from them.
Some changes in the outfield as well. Anthony Santander is in right field, and moving from right to left is Craig Gentry. So the Tigers coming to the dish here in the 8th. They've got Iglesias, Machado, Martin facing the lefty Blyer. And Iggy looks at a strike, high strike. Iglesias doubled. That was in the 5th inning. First Tigers hit of the night, and right now the only Tigers hit of the night. Sawed him off that time.
A little breaking ball, a little cut fastball just ran in on Iglesias. He throws a ton of cutters.
Blyer 9 years in the major leagues, or the minor leagues, before he got to the big leagues.
So he knows how to pitch then.
Little ground ball to short. Machado. Iglesias is out. 1 away. Well, don't miss the Tigers take on the Seattle Mariners on Friday, May 11th, 7:10 p.m. for as little as $19 per person. Enjoy a Liney summer party pack that includes a game ticket and a voucher for a draft beer. To purchase, go to tigers.com/Liney. That's tigers.com/Liney. Dixon. Machado looks at a strike on 1.
I tell you though, partner, I didn't see this one coming tonight. I think it's Tillman.
I did not either.
Didn't see this.
I looked at all the numbers and I thought, okay, Tigers got shut out yesterday. That's about to change.
Yeah. One hit today so far.
Tillman goes the first 7, gives way to Blyer here. Tillman retired the last 8 in a row he faced.
And it was a lot of soft contact today off the bat for Tillman.
Dixon, big swing there, 2-2. Tillman at one point retired 10 straight and then ended the game by retiring 8 in a row. Or ended his start, I should say. Machado with a line out and a ground out. And a slow roller hit toward third, gobbled up there by Valencia. Throws it out. 2 gone. How about a Ram pick the stick update?
You got zeros across the board today.
Well, I got negative. I got a -2. And the leader is Rod and Simo with 1 measly point.
Yeah, not a whole lot going on tonight.
That could be a whole lot of
It
movement.
could change quick, though.
Yeah, it sure can. Starting right here.
Just like my lead did that I had.
I feel your pain. I faded down the stretch last year. Faded big time. Leonis looks at a breaking ball in for a strike. 0 for 3 for Martin. Now the 0-1. Little chopper slowly right side of the infield. Martinez out. 3 ground ball outs for Blyer here in the 8th. Peterson, Machado, Jones coming up. Of what a bank can be, come to Comerica. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives to Motor City. And by Wallside Windows. We can do that. We are the factory. Tigers down 5 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. And Johnny Barbado goes back to work. Peterson, then Machado, and then Jones. 2, 3, 4 for Buck Showalter. 3 home runs tonight for the O's. Machado and a pair for Alvarez. The 1-0. Outside 2-0 now on Jace Peterson.
And Jace Peterson got himself a hustling double his last time up. Runner on second base, hit a ball right back up the middle. It looked like Iglesias had a play on it. It hit the second base bag and rolled into right field.
There's a solid single to right center. Leadoff man on here in the 8th.
Here's the 1-800 call. Sam called the game, and one of the guys that we highlighted at the top of the show was Manny Machado. We talked about how hot he had been, and he hit a home run in the very first inning, a solo shot, and that would really be the only run that the Orioles would need tonight.
Machado also has a walk in this one this evening.
Do you think that by Manny Machado playing shortstop now and him hitting the free agent market at the end of this season, we've talked a lot about him cashing in, getting a huge deal. Do you think guys like Correa and Lindor and Seager, the other good shortstops in baseball, will benefit if he does get a huge deal?
Well, I think in theory, yes, because he will set the bar very high for that position. But as we saw this past offseason, maybe that doesn't make a difference. But yeah, I think overall, probably. Ooh, look out. Machado hits the deck. And the runner goes to second.
That was an off-speed pitch. No intent. Fans think it was a fastball, but it was a slider. I can read Barbados' lips. He said that ball slipped out of my hand.
Can there be a more unsettling feeling for a hitter?
Nothing. You can see it slipping out of his hand, basically. It's a fork ball. Manny knew there was no intent there.
Runner at second now, nobody out. But I think, just to kind of build on your thought, Rod, I think there's no doubt that if Machado continues to have the year that he's having right now, I mean, he is going to raise that bar considerably.
57 is the most home runs a shortstop has ever hit. That came back in 2002. A-Rod did that.
There's a ground ball, base hit right field to get another run in. So the wild pitch sets up a run, and Machado goes the other way with his second RBI of the night.
It's kind of tough to overshift on really good hitters, and Manny would fall into that category. Miguel Cabrera is another guy that you don't shift on very often because they can shoot that hole with regularity. And there's a ball that just goes the opposite way, right through the hole.
Here's Adam Jones.
Barbados needs a ground ball here. Needs to throw something at the bottom of the zone to see if he can get himself a ground ball off of Adam Jones's bat. To turn 2.
Adam has put the ball in the air 3 times in this game. The 0-1.
Just to finish that thought on Manny, who is now on first base, there are some people here in Baltimore that believe because Manny now is playing shortstop, it's kind of hurt their defense because Tim Beckett wasn't a natural third baseman, and he struggled over at third base. And Manny is still making the transition back to shortstop. Offensively, no problem whatsoever.
Shallow center field and Martin.
But there's a lot of things that go into playing shortstop. It's a matter of getting back and getting to the proper positions and making sure you're not late, getting over in steals and different things you didn't have to worry about at third base. And they're not turning as many double plays this year with Manny playing shortstop. They were a better defensive team as a unit when Manny was playing third.
When you had Hardy at short and Machado at third, they were pretty much on lockdown on the left side of the infield.
Hardy didn't have great range, but everything he got to, he caught it, and he was fundamentally sound. That's why Manny didn't play shortstop while Hardy was wearing a Baltimore uniform.
Here is Davis. Two strikeouts for Davis in this game. He is 0 for 3.
We'll see if they attack him the same way they have all night long with fastballs up in the zone. Yep, here they go.
It's almost, it's a given, and this is the same result every time.
Well, we're going to show you why, though. I mean, this is why. I mean, take a look at that top row there. 167 and zeros across the board. Even right around the belt buckle, right down the middle, that's the only place he's making contact. Man, there's a lot of cold on his hot and cold zone. They might as well just call that a cold zone.
I have not seen that much blue on a hot cold zone ever. Now, and I would also submit that if you're a big league hitter, that middle box there should probably always be red.
Right.
High fly ball.
He went right back up to that cold zone again.
2 gone. MLB at Bat is your #1 Detroit Tigers app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Detroit Tigers home screen icons. Features such as MLB.tv, Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. Here's Valencia. Miggy playing behind the runner at first base.
Yeah, 6-run lead. Yeah, Manny not going anywhere.
There's the strike call.
Good breaking ball there thrown by Barbado.
You know, I know what the unwritten rules of baseball are. 6-run lead this late in the game, but has a team never come back from 6 runs in the 9th inning to win a game?
Oh, we've seen it.
Yeah,
Team come back from 6 runs in a game.
That's why I never got that.
No, I think it's more so you just don't want to
Show them up.
wake the other team up, so to speak. I mean, the Tigers have not had a great day today with the bats. And sometimes when you do stuff like that, I mean, you just wake guys up.
Driven to center field right at Martin. And that'll end the inning. He'll get another run on the RBI by Machado. We go to the 9th. A 6-0 ball game. We go to the top of the 9th inning here. And the Tigers have 2, 3, and 4 coming up. Little pop up. Third base sign going to be caught. And Machado was down 1 pitch, 1 out. Wall side windows pitching change. You've got Michael Givens.
His numbers as far as the earned run average are a little bit elevated. 5.40 for Givens. 11 2/3 innings long. He's punched out 16. He's walked 8. He throws from that sidearm angle, and you would think that a guy would not have good velocity throwing from this low of an arm slot, but he can get all the way up into the mid-90s with a real nice 2-seam fastball. There it is. You don't see guys throwing this hard from down there.
No. Yep.
He's a former position player, former shortstop.
Miggy walked in his first at bat, and looking back in this game, might have been the best chance for the Tigers to score.
Yeah, they had first and second then.
First and second, and 1 out.
Yeah.
But Castellanos struck out, and then Tillman got Vimar to fly out.
And the only other time they've had a runner on second base today was when Iglesias doubled with 1 out in the 5th.
Miggy shoots one, just foul. And that would have been a double, but it went just foul. One and 2. Michael Givens trying to finish it off for the Orioles. Here's the upcoming matchup presented by Wallside Windows. The Tigers and the O's getting together again tomorrow night. It's going to be Liriano and Cashner.
And we've seen Cashner once this year. He's got a pretty good arm. Nice little breaking ball. We know what Liriano can do. He commands 3 pitches: fastball, slider, changeup.
Down goes Miggy. So with 2 outs, it's going to be up to Castellanos. Orioles pitching has retired 13 in a row. You know, Nick is the last Tigers chance. 0-1. Fly out, ground out, strikeout for Nicholas. 5-game hit streak on the line. Tigers have a lot of hit streaks on the line tonight. He's got only 1 hit. One ball, 1 strike. Two and 1. Johnny Barbado made his Tigers debut and was greeted by a 2-run homer from Alvarez, and that lengthened the lead. Now 2-2. Tigers down to their last strike. Ground ball back up the middle, and it's going to be cut off at second, thrown out of time, and an infield hit for Castellanos.
Let's take a look at the big boys, big plays of the game. Alvarez, their designated hitter today, hit 2 home runs. He went to right center field, his first homer, and then he hit another homer. This one went to left center field. So he picked on the biggest parts of the ballpark today.
And that is the difference in the game here this afternoon, or this evening, I should say. The 3 homers, the 2 from Alvarez, the 1 from Machado. So here's Vimar now. Tigers have just their 2nd hit. And Vimar looks at a strike.
Jose Alvarez talking to the manager, Buck Showalter.
In on his hands, and it's 0-2.
Gibbons is not a comfortable at bat.
Again, the Tigers down to their final strength. The 0-2. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow night for another round of Tigers-Orioles. All of your game coverage begins with Tigers Live at 6. You'll see it right here on Fox Sports Detroit. Game 2 in the series. As this road trip rolls on. Ball high, 1-2 on Victor. 95 from Gibbons there. The Tigers failed to come back. They would drop to 10-14. This would only be the 7th Baltimore win of the year. Way inside, they go to the backstop, and Castellanos moves up.
I don't know how Victor was able to get out of the way of that fastball that Gibbons uncorked there. Made Victor tap dance.
That ball ricocheted off the brick wall. And everything here,
you gotta be careful, yeah.
You really do, because that ball comes back quickly.
That was a changeup. How did it miss it?
Oh. Now Castellanos just going to walk to third base, but they're going to send him back.
Time was in?
Yeah, time was called by Victor. There is nobody covering third base with the shift on, so Nick can take it easily. And he'll go. And it's rolled foul. So Martinez trying to keep it alive. Jacoby Jones waiting on deck. Now Gibbons again with the 2-2. Swing and a miss. And that is that. Tigers are 2 hit tonight in Baltimore. In the first game in this series, shutout for the 5th time, the most in Major League Baseball. Let's send you to the Coliseum Studios, Mickey York, Tigers Live postgame.